Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It is Kevin Ward with a special episode of Kevin at 7. It's actually Kevin at 7:07. Does it make me 7:07? It's not 007, but it's 7:07. So good morning. I'm going to talk this morning about why is the real estate market, why is the housing market still going up like crazy? It's climbing. It's like, what is going on here? I'm in shock at what is happening. And it's like, is this, like, I've been predicting that that a tsunami is coming, that the housing market is going to collapse. That, I don't know about it be a collapse, but let's just say it's going to be a major downturn. And yet, when you look at the housing market, what's actually housing? Home prices are still going up. Home sales are still skyrocketing. It's like crazy. What is happening? And I'm like, what is going on here? Why is with the economy the way it is, in much of the country in shutdown, businesses are going bankrupt, businesses are going out of business, they're closing, their revenue is down, people are unemployed, people are making less money, people aren't paying their rent, people aren't making their house payments. Why is the housing market still going up? And we're out of stimulus. I mean, we're not getting the big stimulus package. That CARES Act ran out, and the government and the Congress is playing politics instead of doing their job, and so nobody's getting help. What gives? Why is the housing market still going up? I'm interested to hear your answer. So as you come on, as you're listening to this right now, I'm interested to hear your answer. Do you believe, as a lot of real estate economists, and a lot of real estate economists are going like, no, the housing market is going to continue to boom. It's going to continue to go up. And I want to know what your thoughts are. So go ahead and put in your comments. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Betty from Southern California. Good to see you. Okay, so here is the reality. When does a bubble pop? Answer: right after it gets to its biggest point. When are we in a bubble? When everything that's all the growth all of a sudden goes, woo! Guys, do you understand that the craziness that's happening in the real estate market right now is only evidence, an indicator of how severe this bubble is, and it's only making the bubble worse because the economy is still reeling. Everything is still reeling. I'm looking at CNBC. This is a CNBC article. 32% of Americans had outstanding house payments at the beginning of August. A third of Americans aren't making their house payment, okay, or they're making them late. And if they're making them late, some of them are making them late, but most of them are not making them at all. Okay, over 30% of tenants are not paying their rent. So all the stuff that's been happening bad is still happening. What's good? Interest rates are historically low. So that's good. All right, good for that. But here is what you got to understand, is that whenever, right before the downturn, right before bubbles burst, there is this euphoria that everything is going great. Oh my gosh. And they thought, we're like, oh no, COVID, we're scared and all that. But all of a sudden things start picking up again. And the housing market, if you look, so one of the great resources, guys, a great resource is Redfin for just statistics. And so I was reading Redfin. I'm probably going to do a blog video on this for next week, where what's actually happening. And so if you look at the thing, and I'm getting answers here. All right, awesome. Oops. So here's Robert Bragg. Hi, Kevin. So I think in our area, most of the layoffs are in service companies like restaurants and movie theaters. As a result, most of those impacted seem to be renters. Certainly, the lower income people have been more affected so far than higher income people. People that have more money have not been affected as much, and they tend to have a little deeper pockets. They tend to have more credit. They tend to be able to survive in a crisis longer than those who literally live paycheck to paycheck. And yet, when you see the number of businesses closing, the number of bankruptcies coming, and we hear, you know, in the news, the headlines, we hear about the big corporations that are going out of business, going bankrupt. But what we don't hear a lot about are the small businesses, which makes up the masses of people that are small business owners, entrepreneurs that have been having good incomes. And now a lot of them are losing their businesses. Some of them have already closed, and some of them are just losing money every day. And they're trying not to close. They're trying to stay alive. So all of that is absolutely happened. I think, Kevin, people have substituted toilet paper for houses. Yeah, good. Our local economy has a lot of plant workers who are strong home buyers. However, we're seeing due to some storms, shutdowns on the production, and could be layoffs to plan works, which could definitely affect our buyer pool. Yeah, it could. But here's what has actually been happening. Okay, Northeast near New York City, slowing prices, dropping more. Guys, in New York City, prices have been steadily dropping. Inventory is going up. But in other areas like Las Vegas has like a 34% unemployment or something. It's insane. I was in Las Vegas this last weekend, and I'm like, the housing market is crazy. I'm talking to Essie Taylor, one of my Inner Circle members, who's our agent in Las Vegas, and she's like, it's crazy. Everything is selling. It's selling so fast. Prices are going up. We don't have enough inventory. I mean, it's actually like the market's gotten better. And I'm like, and nobody's got jobs. What gives? Well, they're all moving from Los Angeles. They're all moving from California. They're going to Las Vegas. So you have a lot of people migrating, and they're going from one area to another. See, because of all the stuff that's happening in the economy, pandemic, social unrest, government regulations, shut down, the government control, people are moving from one area to another, and they can, and they're going, you know, it's a lot cheaper to go there. So housing market in Vegas right now is rocking and rolling. But here are some of the things that I thought were crazy. So I'm looking at the number of new listings over the last over 2020, okay? I'm actually looking at over the last 4 years, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. So number of new listings, pretty much, there's a January, it's at the lowest, and then it just kind of goes up till you hit May. June peaks out, and then it just kind of sort of goes down. So it's usually the arch of how many new listings come on the market, and this is nationwide. And I'll tell you, markets are not, we do not have a national real estate market. They are very local economies because there's so many different dynamics. When you compare Manhattan to Dallas-Fort Worth, there's no comparison, right? When you compare San Francisco to Phoenix, they're not the same. When you compare Las Vegas to Miami or to Atlanta or to Houston, they're not the same. The situations are not the same, and so the markets are going to do different things, especially when you compare the big city to the suburban. Totally different markets, right? So, but these are some national things that just happen year over year. That number of listings coming onto the market, new listings on a month-to-month basis over the last 4 years, you have a natural arc from January where home prices go up, or not home prices, but listings go up till May, June, and then they kind of come back down to December. So you get back down low, and then it's just kind of every year there's this wave. So what happened this year was you have the same thing happening, and then March hit and the shutdown, and boom, new listings dropped through the floor. They dropped through the floor, and then they have now since started going back up, and they're pretty much back to normal now. But here are some things that are totally different, and that is sell price to list price ratio. Sell price to list price ratio has continued to go up it went down a little bit in May and June across the United States. And since then, it has gone on this tear. And typically after July, the list price to sell price ratio goes down, which means if homes listed at 500,000, they average, been selling around 480,000 as an example, 95% or whatever. And so the average for 2018, 2019 goes from like 97%, 97.5% list price to sell price ratio. And in the middle of the summer, in the hot part, it'll be up close to 99% of list price to sell price ratio. That's been the way it's gone. But now, where it usually starts going down as we head toward fall, it has continued to go up. In the week of September 13th, last week, according to Redfin, their study of national MLSs, the average list price to sell price ratio in the United States right now is 99.3%. That's the average, okay? Even crazier is last week, MLSs across the country, they check out like 43 different major MLSs or something like that. I don't remember exact numbers. But this normally, if you go over the last few years, about 32% of listings sell in less than 2 weeks, typically. Okay, and I'm going back 2017, 2018, 2019. About a little over 30% of listings sell in 2 weeks or less. In September this year, it has continued to go up, 46.4%. 46.4, nearly half of all listings are selling in less than 2 weeks across the country. Inventory has continued to struggle and drop. Home prices are up like crazy. Let me see what pending sales are up 27% year over year, which is crazy. But here's the last one that is just nuts. Home sales prices are up 13% in September, in the first part of September, 13% year over year from 2019. 13%. That is how much home prices have gone up in the last 12 months. 13% nationally across, and this is a 4-week rolling average of median sales prices of homes sold across the United States. 13%. It dropped a little bit in May. Home prices dropped a little bit after, starting the year. They do just like always, January, February, March, home prices start going up. But then when the pandemic hit, home prices dropped a little bit for about 6 weeks. Home prices started dropping a little bit. And then all of a sudden, June comes, July, August, September, home prices have just continued to skyrocket. An all-time record high. The median sales price September 2020 right now is over $319,000 compared to this time last year. It was $282,000 year over year, from $282,000 this time last year to basically $320,000 this year. That is insane. Grand Rapids, Michigan, Jeremy says average 100% list price sell price ratio at the moment. Yep. That's what, they're showing nationally. In Grand Rapids is a pretty hot little market. 99 point, where was that number? 99.3 is the national average. And that includes New York, that includes San Francisco, it includes Vegas, whatever places. Well, Vegas is still hopping pretty good. But Vegas is hopping not because Las Vegas economy is doing good. Vegas is hopping because a lot of people leaving California and they're leaving the expensive areas because they can get so much more house for the money. In Las Vegas, taxes are better, all of that. So there's a lot of people making those moves. So here is what does all this mean? Well, Redfin, I'm looking at the Redfin blog, and their economist is making all of this. It's the housing, this is the blog title, housing market white hot after Labor Day. Home prices up 13%, pending sales up 27%. Yes, new listings of homes for sale were 6% above the 2019 levels. Key takeaways from 434 U.S. metro areas during the 4-week period ending September 13th. And they're looking at all this and going like, man, see, the housing market is rebounding. We're in the recovery. It's going to be awesome. My friends, this is not a rebound. This is the bubble mania. Okay, I want you to listen good. And for you real estate agents, most of you watching this are real estate agents, I want you to hear me good. This is the bubble mania. This is exactly what happens right before the bubble bursts, is people are on this tear. And the moment when everybody goes like, oh no, look at interest rates, look at home prices, look at low inventory, I better buy now. When everybody is trying to buy, you should be very afraid. When everybody is trying to buy, you should be very afraid. And because low interest rates, people are leveraging themselves up, and low interest rates have made people able to, increase their buying power. Which in that respect, for somebody that's gonna buy, that's awesome that they can do that. For sellers, it's awesome, prices are going up, but the economy is in the toilet. It is not. People buying houses does not take the economy out of the toilet, because you're a realtor and you're having, well, there are lots of buyers and buying, and when you can find a seller, they're selling fast. A lot of agents, the ones that are working, the ones that are doing the right stuff, they're having lots of business. Probably the majority of my coaching members are having their best year ever. Okay, they're having by far their best year ever. Some of them are just killing it, and they're going like, I can't even prospect. I'm so busy. I'm getting people calling me. And like S.E. Taylor in Las Vegas, I said, how many buyers? Like, you must be going crazy with all the buyers. She's like, I don't have a single buyer. They're all listings. People are calling me to sell their house. And so it's like she's busy. She's making money. Agents, so many of my coaching members and agents I'm working with are doing that. Now, what does that mean? Well, right now, you don't have to be that good. You just have to get out there and find people. But when all this comes to an end, when the bubble bursts, people are reeling and they go like, what just happened? So what I'm telling you is that we are in a bubble mania with housing market. The debt bubble continues to grow. The Fed national debt continues to explode. If you go to USDebtClock.org and you look at our national spending, we are just a little over $3 trillion in total revenue that the federal government will take in this year. Just a little over $3 trillion. They have spent over $7.2 trillion. And let that sink in for a minute. Okay, how many of you, they're making $3 trillion, spending 7.2? That would be kind of like you making 300,000 and spending 720,000. How long is that sustainable, my friends? Okay, it's just the Fed's printing money. They say, oh, it's not actually printing money. Well, it's functionally printing money. Okay, there are so many things happening right now that the bubble mania, and everybody's going like, oh, listen, we got to buy, and so agents get into this, and while you're making money, it seems like it's never going to end. And I'm just wanting you to be prepared when it ends. Now, the good news for real estate agents that are trained and that know what to do when the market goes down, and all of a sudden, when forbearance runs out, when eviction moratoriums are lifted, and they're still trying, there may still be some more of that, okay? So when all of this happens, at some point, and forbearance runs out, and evictions are no longer forbidden, it's all gonna come home to roost. And it doesn't matter who wins the election, it's gonna come. And when it comes, it's gonna get ugly so fast, and I don't want you to get caught flat-footed going like, what just happened? And you thought it would never end. So you've been making all this money, good commissions, and you've been spending it all. You've been living, you're like, man, we need a vacation. I'm gonna get a nice house. I look at interest rates, I'm gonna get a new car. And you're spending all your money instead of living lean and preparing for when it crashes. When it crashes, number one, you need to have money to live on. Number two, you wanna have a lot of money to buy up the great investment opportunities that are going to be coming. And they are going to be coming. You guys are silent. Let me see if I got any comments. I've got some comments here. Okay. Do you think when the current COVID eviction and foreclosure legislations, there will be an increased amount of sellers? Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely going to happen. Do you have a video where you explain how to research market ups and downs without the MLS? Go to Redfin. Redfin.com. Great information. They're blogs. But watch the stats. But see, here's the thing about Redfin, is their economist is saying this is a good thing. This means the housing market is recovering. And I'm saying this is a bad thing. The housing market is bubbling. We are in a massive bubble right now. And there's this mania. And what happens, this is like the calm before the storm. Everybody's excited and this is right. This is what happens right before the crash, every time. Now, I'm not saying that a crash is imminent in the next week. I'm not saying that when it's going to crash. I'm just saying this is the same kind of thing we saw back in the early 2000s, right before the meltdown. And all the underlying stuff was saying, we're in trouble. But people were still out buying houses like crazy. And the mortgages, they're trying to get people in houses. And they're just like, you got to buy now. And they're like, so everybody's buying now. And all of a sudden they're like, I shouldn't have bought now. And then when the collapse hits, when the panic hits, it's like overnight. And you're like, what in the world just happened? And all of a sudden, every listing you've been taking has been selling in 2 weeks because you can't overprice. It's impossible to overprice a listing whenever there's no inventory and everybody's fighting for houses. But all of a sudden, when inventory starts going up just a little bit and buyer demand starts going down just a little bit, all of a sudden those overpriced listings ain't selling at all. They're not getting offers, they're not getting showings, and people are going, what happened? What happened? That's the agent's fault. And you got sloppy and lazy on pricing when you need to be pricing things right. It's still gonna sell for more money right now. But when things turn, you got to be great at pricing, or you're going to have listings not selling, and you're going to have your sellers chasing the market down, and you'll get the crap beat out of you by every seller, and they lose money, and it's your fault. So you got to get aware and prepared now, preparing yourself mentally now. Now take advantage of it. While the market's hot, sell. But stay tight, stay lean, stay trained, and stay disciplined, so that when it does turn, you're not caught red-handed with a bunch of overpriced listings, or thinking that you're caught with a lot more debt, personal debt. People are literally right now, a ton of the stuff that's happening is people are refinancing their houses, which is great. Refinance, get lower interest. But what's not great is they're refinancing and taking out more equity, and they're spending it. That's crazy. So don't be that kind of crazy. Okay, get prepared. Is this making sense to everybody? If it is, can you give a thumbs up to this video if it is? All right, I'm a realtor. Thank you. All right, good. Use Redfin or become an agent's the best. Okay. Of course, you pay to access the MLS. You got to be a realtor. You cannot access the MLS unless you are the actual MLS, unless you are a member of the National Association of Realtors. Will the market go down by 5 to 10% or 10 to 20%? Pierce, well, it partly depends on where you live. It's not going to be, all across the nation exactly the same. It never is. Some markets are going to, when they go down, they crash. Others just adjust. Okay, so it depends. There'll be some markets that'll go down 5 to 10%. Some will go down 10 to 20%. Some will go down way, way more than that. And this is not something that's going to happen over a 3 or 6 month period. We're talking about years once it starts. Because once the financial situation in America, the debt bubble pops, the stock market, all that, I don't know how long the feds can keep doing the stimulus. When I say this stimulus, to the financial system that's making the stock market do its craziness. Now the stock market, I haven't looked here, but the futures were way down. So I don't know. I haven't looked this morning since the stock market opened up what it is going to do, but I am going to bet we're in for a bit of a roller coaster. The Dow Jones is, oh my goodness, Dow Jones is down over nearly 800 points this morning. The NASDAQ is down over 200 points this morning, so we're talking nearly 3% down in the Dow. So there's some rocketing and rolling going around. Yeah, it's red on all the stocks right now, Joe. Pretty much everything is down except for Zoom. Zoom is kind of making a pretty good run today. They're up 4%. So there you go. But if Zoom's up, that means people are scared. All right, guys, that's it for today. Have an awesome week. Play to win. Thanks for your comments, and always expect yes.